Yo, we're back. Another day, another dollar, another session, another conversation. I'm just saying, and we're here just saying a few things about the Kirk Franklin Father's Day documentary, and they still coming for Dion. But Dion said, you better get me now. Get me now because you won't be able to later. We got to unpack some things that these coaches are saying that the good old boy coaching network, how they feeling about Dion seriously. It's all starting to come out. We'll be right back with the topics. Kirk Franklin Father's Day and Dion still got his luggage. I'm just saying.
That opening is going to be crazy. That with Kobe and all them on there, that's going to be iconic. We'll look at that years from now, God willing. Yep, yep.
Yeah. So this week, not this week, last week, Kirk Franklin dropped what was supposed to be a documentary about making his next album, which turned into a deep dive into the hurt and pain and that he has experiences throughout his life, and the missing link, if you will, in his life being the information and the knowledge of his true biological father. And I say true biological father because there was a lie told that created some feelings that, come to find out, was not the truth and left this man wanting some more. So Bruce, Coop, we talked about this briefly. We all saw a video. Who wants to start about their reaction at the end? Like, after watching the whole thing, what was your reaction about the whole thing? Like, what were you feeling?
It
Go ahead.
made sense. It made sense. Everything that Kirk Franklin in that 35-minute doc made sense. And here's why I say made sense. His music, it made sense. All of his albums, it makes sense. Kirk, his demeanor, the upbringing, even his situation, the argument that he had online with his son about a couple years, it's been about a year and a half ago, came on Instagram where he was literally cussing him out. It makes sense. It makes sense that there are some things that Kirk has in his life, and sometimes they say that, can men have daddy issues? And I spoke a little bit about it in some of our sessions last year, a couple of years back, that men have daddy issues too, and he has some things and still has some things, if you're watching that are unresolved, that he still is going to have to deal with through some therapy, that I believe he's going to have to deal with through some therapy and kind of talk some of these things out, because he became the 10-year-old Kirk Franklin in that video.
Mhm.
He became the 10-year-old, even though he's our age, he became the 10-year-old when the aunt came to the car and said, get your ass out the car. It was almost like they were talking to a child, and he didn't get mad. He just was like, no, I'm going to stay in here, and you can get the paperwork and get it signed, and then I'll come in. So I think Kirk was, it all made sense. That's all I'll say. I think it made sense to me.
Yeah. Bruce?
Yeah, I agree. I think it well, the video these videos humanize stars in a way that I don't think much else can. This is, like you said, Sandra, it's a deep dive, but it was like almost unfiltered. It was wild to see, because I have my own issues with dads or
Yeah,
dads.
yeah.
So, and I had no idea about this with Kirk Franklin. I woke up on a Sunday to this video, and I was engrossed, like, huh? Like what? And then I'm going back and I'm looking at the whole thing you talked about, Sandru, where he thinks he's already buried his father. And then to find out by happenstance.
Right.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Well, when I
By
say by
design.
happenstance, I'm saying he wasn't skipping anything.
Right.
wasn't
He get
leaving
exactly.
anything out.
Exactly. His quest is over.
Right. He got this information from somebody who's singing with him in a group.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. If you have not watched this video, make sure that you watch the video. Some of it is unexplainable, and maybe we'll get into some of it tonight. What I want to talk about from the video is, and so there's going to be spoilers here for people who haven't watched the video. So maybe
right. The spoilers will make you watch.
Yeah. I mean,
what I wanted to talk about is how is his mother still not admitting
the truth
that she laid with this man? I don't understand that.
Right.
Because then I looked at like other things, like, why won't she admit that she laid down with this man when we know the DNA says he's the father?
I'm thinking, I don't think she didn't. She's not saying I didn't lay with him. I'm just not validating the test. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I slept with him, but
no, I don't.
That ain't true.
I think Bruce is right. I don't think she's even owning the fact that she was with him.
That's
because to own the fact, Rodney, to own that I did it means it's a possibility.
Yeah.
But for her to deny it means that there's no way possible.
Right.
She's saying that those tests, listen, not one test, 2 tests are wrong.
I mean, how many you need? How many did you need?
The second one she swabbed on. The 3 of them swabbed. The first one, it was just Kurt and his father. The second one was all 3 of them, and the sister. Let me stop there because I got to go this. We all have had our conversation, dropped our nuggets about our dad issues. And Rodney, I think if more men admitted that they had daddy issues, they would be better fathers, better husbands, and better men for it. If you can just say that I'm broken because the man who helped create me did not pour into me, did not feel the love, did not validate me, did not bless me, it is why I'm broken because of this. You guys know that my dad died 2020 after years of this not relationship.
Sure.
Bruce, Rodney, when I say I'm watching this video and I'm crying because at first I thought when Kirk get the information, I thought it was an overreaction. When he's like, what? What?
He kept.
But then I tapped into my 10-year-old self. And I can remember wanting my father that we were doing something in school. And I wanted to look out. I know he didn't know it was there. It was happening, like this program was happening. But I wanted him there. And I closed this chapter in my life. I was done with this. And then all of a sudden, this pain is rebirthed. it's all over again. Like I just got punched in the gut. You break your ribs, you heal, and then all of a sudden you stand up too fast and you re-break. You're like, I just
Mhm.
dealt with this. So that shock was like, because he says the man my mother told me was my father. I hated him. He died. I felt bad that I hated him.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm dealing with the guilt of him dying and me hating him, only to find out that I wasted all these years hating an innocent man.
Yeah, the man was not your dad.
Right.
I told Tierra something similar. So usually when I have these conversations with Tierra, it gets bigger than just what we're watching. But I agree with you, Sandru. Men are affected in ways that I don't know we can even describe.
Mm-hmm.
That we even are conscious of. You know what I'm saying? There are so many intricacies. So Kirk, for instance, in this situation, he is dealing with the idea, like you said, that he apologized to a man who he thought was his father, who isn't his father. And then he finds out who really is his father. And then he has to deal with the trauma of all these years, focusing on a man who was never the issue, in effect.
That's deep.
And he has to deal with that. And then he has to find out that the man who is his father never knew.
Never knew.
So you think that your father knows
And check out.
Yes.
So you're dealing with some abandonment issues.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because you think your dad knows and he left anyway. This guy, come to find out, doesn't even know he has a son. The video showed he's there talking to Kirk and his wife is sitting there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking, what's she thinking? And then to go back to what I was talking about before, what is it to as the woman? First of all, the guy who turns out to be Kirk's father is talking like a regular human being. He sounds like he is with it.
Right.
Okay? So in my mind, I'm going through all kinds of stuff. Like, is he the nerd of the streets? Like, did his mom not take account that she slept with him because it was embarrassing to her?
Mm-hmm.
It was embarrassing to her that he was not.
So she suppressed that. She suppressed that. Just totally suppressed it.
So it's all.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
I start thinking
it hasn't
about
happened.
Right. So she just says, no, that's not your father. Like, and then if he is your father, and then she told you the other guy was your father, how many people was she with? I mean, you start to
with the numbers. Yeah, with some numbers.
You start to go through all kind of stuff.
So
and it's wild.
Let's take this. Let's start from the beginning, because there's a part, and I think we all can relate to this part, that Bruce and Coop pissed me off. Like, I was ready to throw hands at this one part because I experienced it myself. So Kirk calls his aunt. He says, "Hello, may I speak to Sandra?"
Crazy. This is crazy.
She says, "Who?" He says, "Sandra." She's like, "Who is this?" He said, "Sandra, this is Kirk." "No, you know what my name is."
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, that's what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're doing? Okay, Aunt Sandra."
Yeah.
Can I, so I had this experience in my life.
I think we've all had that experience. Just so
you know. So, okay, my dad was not there, but not only was he not there, his three sisters and two brothers weren't there either.
Mm-hmm.
So now you come on the scene, and you want me to
some respect.
You want to demand some respect?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come miss me with all that. Because
Mhm.
first of all, your sister may have been trifling, but apparently you weren't. Because he knew you, he knew your number, he had access to you, you had access to him. But did you ever try to, because he hadn't talked to his mother in 23 years.
Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes,
Now, auntie,
yes.
for real, auntie, you letting this gap of 23 years exist between me and my mama, and you want me to call you auntie?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Entitlement and audacity.
Yeah, I've had that experience, just not that particular experience, but I think we all in the Black community. There was a time when I could not call, for instance, I couldn't call my auntie Zell, and she would say, "Huh? I'm
Right,
Auntie Zell." So you had to. It was like part of their name now. You had to
right.
say
Yeah,
Auntie Zell.
yeah,
Now, that's a different experience than what Kurt is talking about, but I think we've all had that part where you have to give the respect to your aunt.
yeah,
That was
yeah,
their
yeah,
name,
yeah,
uncle,
yeah.
whoever, aunt,
Right,
whoever.
right.
But to
I
hear it in that context, I was the same way. I was like, huh?
yeah. I
Kirk
think Kirk,
is he 50?
he's
53.
our yeah, he's us, all of us. He's right here. Kirk is what as the video went on and started heading towards the end. Um, there's a lot for him to process.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of stuff to process. And I think his spiritual kicked in.
Yes.
Like, am I gonna be mad am I gonna be mad at this,
Mhm.
mad at you, who to be mad at? And not really saying, well, I'm gonna be. He asked the question when she denied it. It was almost, man, it's crazy. Drew, this whole Peter denying Jesus twice. Like, I'm gonna ask you
You right?
right
Yeah.
here, I'm gonna ask you, so are you saying
Mm-hmm.
that what is on that paper, you are not
Mm-hmm.
what he said, believing, or you're not gonna go,
Gonna validate this, or
Not
you're
gonna
not gonna
validate.
validate it. And she said, no. Now she then said,
Is this
she asked him a question. So is this gonna make a difference between with us? I mean, and he
yeah,
said it is gonna make a difference. I think Kurt, this is Professor, I'm talking to my sister. This is me talking. I think he's going to back off of that through time to
mm-hmm.
say, because he's got to get to mom, what happened? Just let's walk through this so that I can get some clarity
Mm-hmm.
on what happened. If you can walk me through, and here's the thing, Ma, I need you to just be honest with it. At this point, we are who we are. Dad is my dad. My dad is my dad. The other dad was a dad, but now is dead. Just you and I need to. I just want to know. Let's just go back to when you recollect on this relationship,
Yeah, I
and
agree.
yeah, and then when do I really begin? Am I really asking you why you held it from me? I think that's further. It's not in that conversation. It's just, let's just kind
After
of take it back because we've
after
got to.
after some time has passed, maybe.
Yeah, yeah, and
But
I
but Coop, when his mom when he says that to his mom, like, I'm asking you again, are you saying that this test is he's for her to say no to his face like that? It's like lying to your face.
and with that being said, Bruce, I don't think she's ever going to give him the closure.
That's what I'm saying.
Because
It's
she
like
said it.
she knows
This
what's
ain't
at
a,
stake, Coop. She knows.
every, yeah, because he said no more hugs, no more kisses, no more I
No
miss you,
gifts.
no gifts. All of that is done.
Yes.
And he listen, and why if you watch it again, he pauses Bruce and Coop as if this like that was that litmus, that list he gave her was
Mhm.
to ignite the
Yes.
the
For her to tell the
response.
truth.
Like, okay,
Yes.
here's the final chance. All
Yes.
this is going to be done away with if
Hmm.
you don't give me.
Hmm.
And she walk. Listen,
She still wouldn't
she
do it.
gets up. No, she gets up and walks away.
No, did
The
you hear?
auntie,
Did you hear what the auntie said? The
she
auntie
said,
was
"Go
she
ahead."
was like basically like, come on, tell him the truth.
Now,
Even the
and
aunt,
it appears she knew.
yeah,
Yeah,
My
yeah.
auntie knew. Auntie
he did
knew.
not caught her off guard at all.
Yeah, auntie
She
knew. Like he
that
just
part.
wants the truth. He just wants the truth,
He just
and
wants the
she knew.
truth. Tell him the
And she
truth.
knew.
So
And
so
she
check
knew.
this out. Now let's go back to her talking about this auntie BS. You knew the whole time.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
fine.
it's not my place.
But
Oh,
so
That
and so
that's the part you put on there, Drew. You put this on your post, and I said this
family,
too. Cats
family
taking stuff
secret.
to the grave. Yeah, you know, and it's not my.
it's not
Listen,
your
man.
place.
When you
So
talk about family secrets, dude, people ain't saying. People are taking stuff to the grave, and it's killing folk.
So did you see Jason's
Yeah,
question? He asked, "Is what happens before you born your business?"
not if it affects my life.
Then it does. So it does. It is your business.
It
If
is
it
my
affects your
business
life.
if it affects my life. If it doesn't have anything to do with my life, then it's none of my business. My mother could have killed 3 people before she had me,
Mhm.
changed her life, and if those 3 lives she took don't affect my life, it's none of my business. But when she starts doing things, if she starts doing things her in her past that grossly and negatively affects my life, my future, my happiness, my joy, my existence, then it's my business. Because your business is now jumping into my business.
Mhm.
This man.
I'm
So
just saying. I'm just saying. I think that question that Jason is asking is
it's
that's
a it's
that's a
so
heavy
Bruce,
question
I think
man.
it's that old way of
Because then
thinking.
you have to talk about your own kids. It's not just that question that Jason's asking is not devoid from you
Right, right.
yourself.
So
What you saying? What you saying? What you talking about?
What
What
I'm
you?
saying is if you say what Sandra said, and I agree with what Sandra said, if it affects my life, and in this case, in Kirk Franklin's case, knowing who his father was affected his life. So she should have told him what's going on. The idea that she would not, and then even after being found out, still wouldn't, still affects his life. But I'm saying Kirk can be mad at his mom, but can his kids be mad at him
yes.
for the
Well,
stuff,
If,
for the stuff that
well,
he has done?
okay.
so
Well, hey, okay. There it is. And that there, I'm thinking of this. The word that comes up with Kurt and Kurt's kids is just forgiveness, man. It's about forgiveness. I'm gonna give you, Dad, as we are adults, men adults, and I see some of the things that you've done that have affected me in my life. When you and I talk and you talk about the things that happened in your life and some of the reasons why you responded this way, of the things that your dad did and your grandfather did, when that comes to me, it is now my responsibility to choose whether I am going to give you the pass on how you treated and did things with me.
I
It's a critical point.
I
It's a critical point to
I agree.
say,
But
to say,
what you're
to,
saying is that you are being transparent with your own kids.
yeah,
So
and you know
yeah.
what?
And
I'm saying she is not being transparent
Exactly.
with Kirk.
but there's going to be a reason why, and that's what they'll get to. Ma, why didn't you say? Why didn't you say that? When they talk it out, I believe that Kurt will say, and I forgive you for that. Okay,
If she's transparent.
if she's transparent. Yep, I'll take
So
that.
so
If she's
Bruce, I'm gonna
transparent.
ask you this. Because and Coop, we can all ask him this question because it's gonna go. I'm gonna jump to this question, and I'm gonna flip into Kirk's relationship with his son, and then with his son with his previous mother, with his child's mother, and then the relationship he has with his wife's children.
Mm-hmm.
Has your dad, before your dad passed away, Bruce, did he ever, or Coop, in your relationship with him, has he ever done something wrong and said I'm sorry or asked for forgiveness?
My dad did.
And how did you, was forgiveness, was it given?
Yeah, yes. My dad.
Okay. Man,
So
that
just
is a ooh, nigga. You done opened it because wow.
no,
Mm,
I can be open and honest. I think
yeah.
so. I spent time with my dad. It wasn't like my dad was like never around.
Right.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, people knew my dad. Like people in the church knew my dad. Like I can't count on them on my hands or feet or whatever. The number of times I've walked in the church and people have said, "You look just like your dad."
Those are compliments, man.
So
That's a compliment.
people knew who my dad was. They liked my dad was generally seen as a good dude.
Right.
Um, so I never, and so I would spend weekends with me and Brian. We would spend weekends with my dad or whatever. My dad didn't have he didn't have a real financial footing as far as I can tell now as an adult
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
be a dad. He wasn't a dad with resources, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
But he we would spend time with him.
Did what he could. Just did what he did the best he could.
Well, even that, I think he could have done more. Like he never came to. He had never seen me play basketball
Yeah,
at
I
all.
remember you saying that. I remember you saying that.
And that was one of the things that made it so. Like I'm coming from Barron's game.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not missing
Right.
my games. That's just not.
Right.
If it can be done, I'm
Yeah.
making it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that I took analytically that I was not going to do that my dad did. And I think my dad didn't come to those things because of a sense of shame.
Mm.
He felt, and according to people, my dad was a really good basketball player.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a better baseball player than he was basketball.
Right.
And played for Burns and the whole deal. So all of them guys over at Burns, they knew my dad. Jowers, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like my dad was kind of stuck in an era. And this is why I think we need to talk about the Kevin Samuels thing. My dad didn't make enough money to really take care of his kids, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, in some ways you do what you can, but then when you can't do certain things, you could do other things.
Right.
Yeah.
So cool.
I would say, yeah, that exactly. I think dad has apologized but not asked for forgiveness, which maybe
two different things.
Yeah, and exactly. And
two different things.
Am I looking for you to say, will you forgive me for that? Because those are like therapy type things in the therapy that I'm even in. I didn't have that. Mm-hmm. Who knows what that would look like? But in furthering that, mine was the direct opposite of what Bruce was. My pops had the resources but was unavailable for that little thing. Yeah, you came to some games, but that wasn't what it was. It was the belief in me. There were relationships that he formed with other young men that I looked at as, how is it that you're cool with? I mean, that they're. It's almost like they're your sons and not me and not even my brother and I. So and we had the conversation when it's been about 20, it's going on about 20 years of just saying how that made me feel. But the issue comes, the relationship that you have with your father permeates and extends into your marriage. It
Yes.
extends into the relationship with your daughters, with your sons, how he dealt with you, just on sheer the natural part of it. You begin to do that. And what I talked to my class about is you got to recognize that that's an issue and that I can't do that, but it's become part of me because that's just what I became, what I saw. This is all I see. I see this. So this is what I become in my marriage, and what I saw. The dynamic, my man, is one of it's layers to this thing.
Yeah.
It is real layers to it. And as young men, even as young men, and even now as we get older, we've got to continue to just recognize it ain't even mama. It's not. I mean, mom is, our moms, but dad shaped my thinking. Dad shapes the way I am. Dad shapes how I deal with women. Dad shapes how you respond to women. Whatever it is, what responsibility look like.
Yes.
Even what critique looks like. Listen, you may have seen me. Don't do this. Don't do this.
So with me, my dad, so biggest forgiveness moment, like my dad never apologized for some core things that I needed him to deal with. So when I got married at 14, I wanted my dad to be in my wedding. Now the man who raised me had died, so he couldn't be there. Because if it was up to me, my stepdad would have been like, his name would have been everywhere, followed by my dad. It'd have been the pecking order. But because he wasn't, so when my stepdad died, I literally called my dad in tears, like, you're all I have now. I got nothing but you. And it was like that Kirk Franklin moment with his mama. I'm giving you this is the last chance for you to jump in and be the father that I need. Didn't happen. So getting married in 2014, asked this man to be in my wedding. I said, look, I got your suit. I just need you to do one thing for me. I need you to like kind of get this together, kind of shaping this up and kind of trim this up for the wedding. When I say he had a fit, Bruce, cool. Dude, for my sister wedding, he was laced. Suit, everything. He was laced. I'm just asking him to return the thing for me. Just be that. You all I got now. Share your name. Me, you, Drew. I need this. This dude called me Friday, the day before I got married. Can't do it. He said, I don't have nobody to cut my hair. My barber was a part of my wedding party. He had planned on cutting my hair the day of the wedding. You can't do it. You can't get it. So I stopped talking to him. At the same time I stopped talking to him, my father-in-law a year later gets deathly ill. And I'm like spending time with this man. I'm shaving. He telling him how much he loved me and da 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 da. I'm hearing this from him. Right as he transitions, the next day my wife tells me, you got to make it right with your dad. I'm looking at her like, whatever. 3 weeks later, Coop, the man calls me and says, can we talk? I said, go ahead. He said, no, I need you. Dad called me. Need you. I want to talk to you. I said, go ahead and talk. He said, no, I want to see you. So now SJ is on the scene. I'm using SJ. I'm taking SJ with me because he's my reason to leave. When he gets the fussing, I gotta go. Right. Pulls up. SJ's in the back seat, in the little car seat. He looks at SJ, talking about how cute he was, yada, yada, yada. And the next thing he says, he turns to me, and I heard it in his voice. He says, can you forgive me? He didn't say I was sorry. He said, can you forgive me? And my response was, yes. And he went to go into, no. We good now. Like, I don't need you to go into this because I want to hold it right here. I want this moment to be this moment.
Right.
Now we subsequently fell out again after that, but for that moment, for the first time in my life, he not apologized. He wanted me. So forgiveness to me, Bruce, if I ask you to forgive me, that's for you.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to forgive me, not for me, but for I need to make this right. So I'm asking you to forgive me for the hurt I caused you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry makes me feel better.
Okay. So he's
That's how I look at it. I'm sorry makes me feel better. Me asking for forgiveness is to make you whole.
Woo, woo.
So I don't need you. I'm sorry. I need you to ask for forgiveness. So now you're addressing my pain, not just dealing with your hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm
yeah.
looking at this. Here's the deep part. Kurt's father is he says, I didn't know. I apologize because I would have been there for you.
Yeah.
What did Kirk say to him though? He says, it's okay.
Yeah.
You didn't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry that you had you feeling the way you feel.
Yeah.
Because of something somebody did to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that was amazing that Kirk put his own feelings aside because he saw that his father really didn't know that he existed.
Well, yeah. So that's
and
it wasn't that his dad like apologized to him for not being there. That wasn't it.
Right.
It was the transparency to know that this man didn't even know.
Right.
So yeah, you're gonna get the apology or the all that because you're being transparent and it's clear that you didn't know.
And it appears the cat lived in the town for years.
Listen, his son,
that's crazy.
His son played at a house across the street from him.
Right.
Yeah.
That was in the video too.
And I'm looking at this, and I want to say something that you guys may not agree with, because it is unpopular to say these type of things in this era. But I have to say it. If the reverse was true, that Kurt's father hid him from his mother, Kurt's father will be getting dragged right now.
Oh, for sure. But the mom really isn't getting dragged.
Right.
And, I mean, no, father. I mean, it would have been blogs and news.
Oh, yeah.
This man would have been the worst. Like, it would have been stories. Like, people would have dug down in his history and found out this, that, and the third, and drug him. But mom
gets a pass.
Is getting a pass. Somewhat. Like, I don't see.
Getting a pass. Yeah, I agree. I
don't see the outcry. I don't see the outcry that I would have seen, that we would have seen had a man did this. And I think
even if the man knew.
Right.
There are definitely double standards, for sure. Hey, have y'all seen Fences?
Yes.
Fences with Denzel Washington.
Yes.
This situation, us talking about it kind of reminds me of that movie how Denzel talks to his kid.
Out back, talking about liking you don't have nothing to do. Wasn't part of the bargain. Wasn't part of the bargain.
And in effect, what Denzel is doing in that scene is saying, "I love you,"
right, in his own way.
He never says it.
Yeah.
There's a couple things going on there, but couple things happening subsequently that took
And as fathers, so Bruce, you said something that because your dad wasn't there for those moments, your games, Bruce, I've seen you going to Barcelona, like going to Spain. You're going all over the world to watch your sons play a game.
Or to yes, I have.
Or to see a share moment, a game with them.
I agree with that. And that's specifically for that moment alone. There's no other reason why I do that, because
I saw you coach your son.
That's it.
And when he does things that I've seen you, so he does things like another big will do something, do the exact same thing, and when he comes to the sideline, you kind of give him a look and you try to give it to him, And if he don't get it, okay, you just sit there. But with your son, you're like, you give it, you like dad and coach, and then you even implore other people. Like I've seen, like, yeah, Justin, you could have did this better, and you like that's the exact same. You're saying like, I just need you to get this. If you don't get it from me, I need you to get this because this is important. Because it's not about basketball, it's about you
Mm-hmm.
listening to me, you hearing my
Mm-hmm.
voice, and knowing that I'm not
Mm-hmm.
lying to you. It's all these. It's like it's those levels that I see that
Yeah.
you guys do, and then with my son. Like everything I do, I post pictures of me and SJ changing tires, cutting grass, sanding floors. I don't want him to miss a moment of. I don't want him to be able to learn something from somebody else that I could have taught. You
Sure.
know what I'm saying? Because I
Sure.
learned everything about being a manhood from everybody but my father.
Yes. So
Agreed.
what you're
Okay.
what
Yeah.
you're saying
Yeah.
is
Mm,
is is
mm.
very is important. So let me say it's a couple things. First, what you'll learn with your sons, or if you have more than one, you might have different like variety of these kind of experiences. But a lot of times, your son doesn't listen to you
Right.
immediately.
Amen.
They just don't. They think they know more, or maybe it's that they're not quite clear where you're coming from, or whatever. They don't quite get it. I've told the story. My oldest did not want to pick up a basketball for real. He didn't want to do it until 7th grade. We have a court outside our house,
Right.
and I forced him before 7th grade to learn how to shoot because I said you're gonna learn how to shoot
Mm-hmm.
because you got to get that skill set down relatively early. So he did do that, but that was because he was forced to do it. He did not want to play because he knew I played. So your sons will on purpose be
Uh-huh.
opposite of you.
Mm-hmm.
They will do that. What I have since learned, and I talked about this at Tierra's party. I told you this, Coop. We didn't have, there's no rule book on this father thing.
Man.
They don't give you a book and say, here, this is what you do. You
Correct.
have to learn it. So because we never, or I never really got the full,
We
okay, so some of us didn't get the full pouring into of a father
Mm-hmm.
and
Same.
then see how the relationship changes as they get older to become less teacher and more counselor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still like working through that,
Yeah.
learning that, how to
Yeah.
figure out that, how I can best serve him in a different capacity where I can't make you do it,
Mm-hmm.
but I can help you see things. And what I've seen lately, my oldest is 21. He was listening. He was
Hmm.
listening to some things, and he'll say things um, and thank me and his mom for um, stuff that we've taught him that he now sees. You can't see it when you're younger. The last thing I want to say is our relationship with our kids is directly in relation to our relationship with their mothers. I feel like there's a lot that I can if I was not married to my wife, his mother, I think our relationship would be totally different.
I
But,
can I
Hmm.
because we are
Hmm.
a unit and continue to be a unit and stay a unit,
Mm-hmm.
that helps my relationship with my sons in a way that I don't think would be the same if we had split, let's say when he was 5 or
Mm-hmm.
8,
Mm-hmm.
something.
Mm-hmm.
and,
It's
and I can say that being a father who was outside of the home, it definitely affects and the overall treatment of mom.
Yes,
Like
yes, yes,
the
yes.
over, like everything. Like you can't be a butthole.
No.
You can't be a butthole. And
Mm-hmm.
I know what I was. So I'm tempered with my daughters. Like I'm so like I know that they saw the worst of me and their mom.
Hmm.
So when I get the pushback from them, I'm reminded like, yo, that's because
Hmm. Hmm.
this. And for a while it was hard. I didn't. So it wasn't hard for me to make the connection. It was hard for me to admit.
To admit it, yes.
To admit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And because admitting means that you
You were wrong.
were
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here's even deeper, Bruce. I was my father.
Mm.
Yes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's the part. You had became the very thing that you hated.
I think what we learn from this is that to be a man and to be strong is actually
Being vulnerable.
to be humble and vulnerable um and open.
That's not weakness. And that's not
Not
weakness.
weakness, and it's
No,
not what we have been taught in our
lie.
community.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not what we are. It's
Yeah. We're not,
and
society is not teaches that.
it's not
Society
what
then,
society said. In fact, society would call us simps.
Right.
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Like
So,
so
mm-hmm.
going to the Kirk Franklin thing, like with his oldest son, there if you listen to his music and listen to that documentary, there was time with Kirk and his son slept in cars.
Yeah. Yes.
Notice he didn't say him and his child's mother.
Right.
He had his son
Mm-hmm. Right.
and
Yeah.
he was maneuvering. So when I see commitment like that, and I see dads like really out here putting in that work. So my dad couldn't tell me anything about why he couldn't be there. Like, Nig, you got no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen men, like I've seen how real men do it. I'm not gonna kiss my baby mama behind. Oh, nigga, you will. If
Mm-hmm.
you really want to be a father, you might
Shoot.
have to do that to be in your child's life. You might have to be humble and put your feelings aside to be. You might have to be vulnerable to her attacks or be angry when she angry. You got to just sit there and take it. If you really want to be in your child's life, it can't be about you when you have that child. It
Mm-hmm.
can't. You really can't be mad at her. You just got to kind of like, okay, even though she might be wrong, okay, and just work yourself
Hmm.
out of this
Wow.
because
That's
Hmm.
not to say. That's
That's
not to say that because I think men and women do have these things. Like you can still, for lack of a better term, check your wife,
yeah. But
but
a baby mama,
not in a way that's it can't be detrimental and it can't be out of ego. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not talking about your wife. I'm talking about your baby mama.
Well, either to be honest.
It's a whole, it's a whole, it's a whole different situation.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah. So, and I'm saying that like I know men who check out on their
Mm-hmm.
kid because of the relationship, because the baby mother is angry with them, and they just check out like I'm done. I'm not doing this no more, and the kid suffers.
Yes.
But I also see guys who put up with the child's mother long enough to get their feet established in the system where they can get their kid without being bothered with the child's mother, like the negative
mm-hmm.
effect of the child's mother. And I want to throw this out here before we switch topics is about 10 years ago, and I've been looking for this thing on 2020, but I realized that sometimes there are things that go online or happen in news cycles that is scrubbed because of the content and the knowledge that it shows people. But I was watching 2020 years ago because I wanted to watch the show after that. And the last episode was talking about fatherhood in America. And 2020 did a poll 20 years ago, no, about 10 years ago, that said, which ethnicity do you think is more involved in their child's day-to-day life and the nurturing and rearing of their children?
Mm-hmm.
And this panel, like they were in a panel, and every last one of them, it was white Americans, African Americans, Asian Americans, and others. Every last one of them, even the blacks and the browns and the Asians, said European men were more involved.
Yes. And
When they revealed the results, African Americans was number one,
yes.
Hispanics were number two, Asians were number three, others were number four. European Americans, white Americans were last on the list. And the study showed that they give more financially,
Yes.
but the moral, the day-to-day love, rearing, and involvement, they're not there for.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they're in the home, they're not there for. So the narrative that us as fathers don't exist is not the truth. And if
No.
you go to any school, any elementary school in the inner cities, or in some of these middle schools in the suburb, you go to schools, you see a lot of dads picking up children.
You know what? I got that inkling years ago when Brian was taking Brock and they were playing in the Pal League.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's dads, it's men. They be down, they be with them
Mm-hmm.
kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to think like, wait, there's a lot of men here.
I think
And you
that's a
may not,
sample. Is that a sample size, Bruce? Because that's like
yeah,
youth sports. Like
yeah.
what else? What else as a black? What else are we gonna be involved in? Are
No,
we gonna be
they,
involved in church or
I agree, Coop.
just a special?
I'm not making that point to say that black men are involved. What I'm
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
I got that when I saw that, I got the impression like, hold on, we're not seeing the whole story here. What
right.
people are telling us about black men
Ain't the truth.
ain't all. Well, I'm not seeing it
Damn.
here. I'm seeing some other stuff here, and that's when I got that first inkling that what we are told socially is not really what's happening. And that study that you talk about, Sandra, is correct. Black men are very involved in their kids' lives, whether they're in the home or not.
Here's the second thing. If you want to go to any elementary or middle school and go to a daddy-daughter dance, and then in turn go to a mother-son dance, there's always more daddies at the
Yeah,
daddy-daughter
I
dance
agree with that.
than
I agree with that.
mother-son dances.
Hmm.
And there's just as many girls as boys in the school, but the daddy-daughter dance, I've DJ'd so many daddy-daughter dances, and I'm talking about wall to wall, matching with their daughters, dancing on the. I'm like dancing the whole night, being silly, being
Yeah.
vulnerable to their daughters. You see this overwhelming support of fathers, and then the next thing you see is you see these moments where like they're doing a little tea party stuff, and they're there and there. You see this, and you're like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We are not all baby daddies. Some
No.
of us have the title, but we have that title, that name baby daddy, but we real fathers out here.
Mm-hmm.
We real fathers out here. We trying our best. Even though the system is not set up for us to be fathers in the homes with our children, we're fighting the narrative, and we're fighting our own brokenness
Mm-hmm.
to be fathers. And I believe we're three examples and I'm not, tell me if I'm wrong, in the home father, in the home, out of the home father, spend time with, and then not involved father at all. But we try to be exceptional dads to our sons
Yes.
because we know what it feels like to have those voids.
Yeah.
Overall,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, I agree
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that means also that even having adult sons, and Bruce has two adult sons, I have two adult sons, and Sandra, you'll see this even with Layla, as an adult child, period. You as I get older, I want to be the best at it, and I sometimes fall short in that.
Mhm.
I fall short in being dad. I could do better here. I could listen a little more to what it is that they're saying. And I sent something the other day to say we just got to be better listeners to our children. We got to be better listeners because they honestly they really look to see if we're listening. Are we just throwing stuff? Are we just don't do this, don't do that, and don't do this and don't? Are we really understanding what they're saying?
Yeah, I
And and I'm gonna tell you this. I don't know, Sandra, you'll come to this, and Bruce, you may have. Um, the conversations now are different. They're they're men conversations,
yeah,
and now as you talk, Bruce, you go into more counselor teacher mode than in
yes,
even in. I mean, your dad, you're listening to stuff, but it's the conversations are mind boggling to from social to women to what you just view life to what God is, who he is, what you feel about God. Everything is different now. Where when they were 9 and 10,
yes,
you were okay. Get up. We're going to.
yeah,
You're gonna be at. You're gonna be at in church. You're gonna be all of this, and I'm fine. That's fine for those that do that. I think our Lord and Savior talks of, man, your family is first, not even your ministry.
right,
Your family is first. So you can be preaching all day or whatever and come home and be a complete asshole to
yeah,
your children. And
yeah,
now they don't even want to like, who is this person? So you've got to be, you just got to, it's a not even a fine line. It can't be a fine line. It's got to be, I'm dad first. Yeah, I think I'm dad first. I want to be dad first. Where that they, you know how they say, so they'll come to you and be like, "Yo, I'm
Yep.
tripping on this, and what you think of this?"
yeah,
And my daughter went off to high school. My oldest daughter went off to college, and we had these dates set up where every Thursday 9 o'clock we would talk. So it worked for about the first 3 weeks of school, and then she slowly forgot about me. And I called her one Thursday at 9 o'clock, and she was like, "Hey," I said, "Hey, I'm not gonna hold you because I know you're busy, and you really didn't have time to talk. Um, so I said, I just want you to know that I'm going to switch our relationship. Today is the last day I'm gonna be angry dad. I'm going to concern father. So what that means is I'm not gonna be angry when you don't call. I'm not gonna be angry about the stuff you do. I'm just gonna be concerned about what you do and how you do it. That's it." And she was like, she didn't get it, but she's starting to get it now because now me and my oldest daughter, I always wanted us to have this really super tight relationship, and we had it off and on. But at 23 years old,
Hmm.
she is now calling me the very thing she called me when she was 7. She don't call me dad. She calls me daddy.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I'm embracing the daddy that she's calling me because to her, I'll always be her daddy. Like I'll be daddy. And I'm good with that. I'm glad that like she's hugging me. We're hugging each other. I gave her a kiss for the first. Like we're getting to this place where I can be daddy to you and not have to be worried about being
Yeah.
dad to you. So
yeah.
yeah. And with that being said, there was an old fashioned daddy spanking that took place
Stop.
this Saturday in Eugene, Oregon. My boy Prime, Coach Prime, took them Buffaloes down to them Ducks. And this is probably the only time in history that a duck kicked the crap out of a buffalo.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But I gotta tell you, I wasn't shocked about the score. But Coop,
Yeah.
there's some things that's floating around, that's being said and being done that
Ooh,
I feel has a little bit of good old boy racist tones to it. I think
absolutely.
I think these boys You know, they starting to show their true colors when they come to Coach Prime. It started with Nick Saban 2 years ago when he was down at Jackson State and he recruited when Trevor went to
Oh, yeah,
Jackson State,
yeah.
and he says that, well, you know, we've never played players here at Alabama, but apparently there are schools who get number one recruits to schools that they would have never went to, that were never on their radar, that have deeper pockets than us. This is a quote by Nick Saban. Now remember Nick Saban and Coach Deion, and he didn't call him Coach Prime. He called him Deion Sanders, and Deion got
Yeah.
offended because you taking the respect off you Coach Saban. Why can't I be Coach Sanders or Coach Prime?
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first time that I saw that white coaches had a problem with Coach Prime. But this week, them boys took their hoods off and let it be known. This guy says, we play for hits, not for clicks.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
we did
For wins. Mm-hmm. Not for
we played
clicks.
for wins. But wait a minute, cool. Doesn't that sound like a clickbait?
That is. And he invited them. He invited them into the locker room because they ask you. I mean, they say we want to kind of do a live pregame, pregame stuff. Is that okay? Oh yeah, come on in. So you invited them in.
He knew he was doing
and
that.
you already knew. Shannon said today, all that was scripted. You know, we're gonna go out here and do on 3, 1, 2, all of that. And what you said earlier in our pregame, I mean in our pre-production, Deion ain't in all that. Listen, man, I'm happy for you. You got a good program. You've done some great things down there. That's fine. We got our rear ends kicked. We played like hot garbage. All of that's fine. But the establishment, here we go, Bruce. The establishment gets a little antsy when you become a little extra, it becomes the shut up and just play. What's all this? It's what's all this? And Deion this is who he's been.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about this is who he's been since Fort Myers, Florida. Yeah, since Fort Myers, Florida. This is who he's been. And the establishment gets a little, they quivering a little bit in their boots, like what's happening? Because they're uneasy. We don't know if this is, the NIL deals. I see your son, he in a $190,000 car. He's pointing to his watch. That's we need y'all to just continue to be, what we was looking at y'all as when you got off that in 16-19.
Come on now.
All this stuff is what
Too
y'all
much.
doing. Yeah, this is too much.
Check this out, Bruce. Here's some numbers for you. Here's what the transfer portal was supposed to be. It was supposed to be a way for when the Alabamas of the world who recruit 5 running backs, and those 5, the 5th running back is not going to get any playing time. So we're going to give you an opportunity for you, number 4, number 5, to transfer to another school so you can get some run. What Deion has done has turned the transfer portal into the free agent market. And what that means is he's recruiting kids to jump into the transfer portal so he can get them out of schools without not playing. And we're not talking about 4 and 5s. He's getting 1s and 2s to jump into the portal. And he's doing it when Alabama couldn't do it, when Georgia's not being able to do it, because here's what's happening. Why would I jump in the transfer portal from UCLA to go to Alabama and be a backup when I can jump in a portal and go to 1-11 Colorado and become a starter? Deion shares a story about a guy that was on his practice team that was doing good work that he got out of the transfer portal. He was I forgot where he came from, but he pulled him out of transfer portal. Wasn't gonna start. He was on the practice team. Somebody got hurt, moved up. Kid played hard. Got moved up from fourth string to fifth. I mean third string. By the second game, he got some run in the first game. By the second game, he's a starter on defense.
Hmm.
He said that's happened because of the transport portal and me and my staff recognizing talent. We recognize talent. So now the coaches are worried about them losing the recruited players who they know. Nick Saban has a record of doing this, Bruce. He will recruit the top 15 position players, wide receivers. He'll recruit them all. He'll get six out of the top 15. But he only plays 2 or 3 a year.
Right.
And every year he's recruiting he's taking talent from other schools so they can't play and beat them.
Well, listen, Sandra, I've said this from the beginning. When he made that comment back in the day, and when the Oregon coach said it this week, it's really, you got to understand the game that's being played. We need to stop calling this the academic terms. This is what racial animus looks like. Okay. It's not something that you can just like pussyfoot around. That's what this is. These people are afraid of losing the power that they have in this game that they've always had. They want to keep the power. So you're right. The NIL was not supposed to be a way for them to lose power per se. It turned out that they have lost some power to players. So I don't think that Deion has changed what the transfer portal is, because if you look at basketball, these people are in the transfer portal left and right.
Right.
The players have made it basically like a free agency. And these schools who used to get the top recruits based on what their school could offer, now all schools can offer that. So you've lost some power. What Deion has also done is he's brought his own charisma and his own light to Colorado, and people want to be a part of that. And so again, they're going to lose recruits because of what Deion can offer. Deion can offer Travis Hunter something that Nick Saban cannot.
Speak on it.
Frankly, and Nick Saban, until they started doing these Affleck commercials, was mad about that.
Oh yeah,
and they're all mad about that.
Definitely.
We need to start to recognize that when these people are making these comments, that's what this is about. Last week, it was the black coach that was making these statements, and I think me and Coop talked about it last week. That was some self-hatred happening. White supremacy under the guise of a black face. That's what that was. Political respectability politics. I'm gonna pick my pants up. I'm not gonna wear my glasses in front of
take off
my hat off. Like, what are you? It's not even what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Right.
And it's foul. And just like this past weekend, the game is not going to be played in Hollywood. Like, ain't no game played in Hollywood. All the games are played on the grass. Like, what are you saying? They're doing it for clicks, and we're doing it for wins. We are doing it for wins. What are you talking about? Like, this. And I know, and I watched some of the
cold talk. It's code switch. Yeah.
Cold talk. Sports shows today, and they were trying to act like it was fine what he said. Maybe it was in bounds, but I can hear what you're saying. I think Ryan Clark today made an excellent point. Oregon has 72 uniform changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're the Nike school. Nike is headquartered there.
That's right.
That's clickbait. that's a draw for Oregon. You're doing it for clicks. Everybody's doing it for clicks. That's how it works.
That's recruiting 101.
That's how recruiting.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
to act like it's like flash and dash. That's what you're doing. The only difference is you have the hogs up front and we don't. This is our first year, or Colorado doesn't.
Right.
First year. It's going to take them some time to get that. And Deion was talking about offensive and defensive linemen.
Yes.
At Jackson State.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And so that's what he means by give me now, because this is the worst we're gonna be, and we 3-1.
That's right.
At
So,
the time.
Me and
So,
Coop. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just think we need to stop trying to make nice with what these people are doing. We know what they're doing. They're blowing these dog whistles very loud.
Right.
And they've been doing it.
So me and Coop talked about last week's show, guys. You guys killed it. I appreciate your prayers and everything, and I'm feeling a lot better. But I have to say this: when Coach Prime, see, I always look at. I'm like you, Bruce. I go deep when stuff is being said. I don't just look at the surface stuff. So when Coach Prime said, we're coming, and I'm bringing my bags, and they're Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So a Louis Vuitton bag, when you think of Louis Vuitton, you don't think of the clothing at first. You think of the bags, because the bags are made with high quality leather. There's a lifetime. You mess up a Louis, you could send a Louis back and they'll either fix the one they sent you that you bought, or they'll replace it with a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So when Deion was saying, I'm bringing my bags and they Louis, he was telling Oregon, he was telling Colorado, I'm bringing quality with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just bringing regular bags. I'm not bringing Farmer Jack plastic bags. I'm bringing quality with me. And you can I'm telling you to jump in the portal, because you might not be quality.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And you might not have the ability to be around quality. And I'm okay with that. But we're bringing quality in here. And what he was saying to the establishment was, he wasn't just talking to the players in that room. He was talking to the league. Like, I have a bag with me. I have a resume with me. I have quality with me. And he openly talks about his relationship with God. Like, Deion used to be very, very flashy and flamboyant, but he is more humble and more like, they think this Deion is flashy. No, Deion is this is humble Deion.
Mm-hmm.
Everything he always gives it to our coaching staff, our player. It's never me.
Yeah.
Like, it's us, it's we. Other coaches, they only say us and we when we win. He's saying it before we've done everything.
The brother is going to be.
Yeah, his ability to attract the high-level assistant coaches, like, he has head coaches.
Yeah, that are right.
His assistant.
Yeah.
He brought his bags with him and they Louis. And they don't like that. There were people who tried to hire his coaches as assistant coaches after they took the jobs with Deion. One of the assistant coaches with anonymous said, I didn't get an offer until I signed with Deion in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want, like, I guarantee you, his coaching staff gets pilfered next year.
Maybe.
Yeah, because that's a tough one, because I think I think his staff is like, we're here to kind of see this thing through. Let's see it to either top 5.
Let's talk real talk, Bruce. Cool. The money and the whiteness gonna take some of them coaches out of there.
Maybe. Yeah, just like Deion left Jackson State. Maybe.
Yeah.
Listen, but see, the thing I love when people bring up, and I'm gonna say this. Deion told them from the beginning, I would be a fool if I didn't entertain.
Yes, I remember that.
From the upper division. I would be a fool.
Right.
He did what he did at Jackson State, and I'm gonna tell you, HBCU football has benefited from it and still is to this day. To this day, they are. What's going to happen is, and here's my prediction, that Deion is going to, his ascension is going to have to be slow and steady and calculated. Because, like the Michigan State football coach, when they ready to get rid of you, they'll find a reason to get rid of you. Like
or that I don't want to pay that, or I'm not paying that money.
Oh
So we'll
no,
find a way.
Oh, no,
We'll find that.
We've seen
Michigan
that.
State,
That's corporate
they got
America.
to pay him. They got to
May
pay him.
not.
They got to pay him.
Hmm.
70 million.
Oh, 70. He'll get 70. Okay.
We'll get
Okay.
70. Ime Doka. Why did two black coaches who had incidents with white women get fired? But Urban Meyer had incidents with underage students, and was able to resign.
Everything's political.
Yeah, we talked about the Mel Tucker thing, and to me, that looked like a complete setup. To me,
Oh yeah,
he got.
They were about getting rid of him last year, bro.
He got to know better than that, but
yeah.
But also, it was a setup. I'm not sure the Ime Udoka thing. That to me didn't sound like it was. Well, he was dating Nia Long, so what's he doing? So people just got to be smart. When you have that kind of money on the line, your life ain't the same. You can't do all that. You really can't. You can't do all that as a black man. You can't. There's
no. You got to move, and you got to move differently. Period. You got to.
You do got to be calculating. I agree with that. That's right.
So, fun fact: the eyeglasses that Deion is wearing, that company made a statement this week that we found our Jordan. That those glasses are on back order. They sold out, and so when he put the glass on, and then everybody, after that game last week, they sold out. There are people on back order for those glasses, and they've like he's done this. That wasn't a deal he had with them. It's a deal he got with them now.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't like he's bringing money, resources, and attention to a school that was 1-11 last year.
1-11, right? So
yep. There they are. Yeah.
So they are making,
and they fit.
They are making. Even I think I heard when they brought him on, the AD said that they did not have the money to pay Deion yet. They knew that. Yeah. But they also knew that when Deion came,
the money was coming.
The money was going to come because they're going to sell out these stadiums.
Oh my goodness.
Merchandising is going to be off the chain. They knew they was going to make the money. So that's just what it is. Everybody is not Deion. So the coach from Oregon, you that's not who you are. You can't do that.
And you don't need to, like, some of that I took with tongue in cheek, like, oh, that's just a coach. Like, I've coached against Coop, and I've talked trash. I've talked about, yo, this man. No, he says I can't coach. Y'all should be on his team. I'm not. I'll feed a narrative to them so that they'll get hyped for the game.
Right.
That's okay. I get that. Right. But the things that he was saying, there's certain things that if a black coach would have said that stuff, I would have taken a lot different.
Yes.
But it was word, it was a dog whistle. I heard it. I heard it. They're flash. Mm-hmm. They are, and I'm gonna tell you, I'm real sensitive about that they are stuff. Like they are. Like you can't say you people and they are too many times in a sentence without me start hearing a whistle.
Right.
It's beyond that. When you say that they're flash and dash, you're going back to like Jimmy the Greek kind of stuff. What you're saying, they don't really work hard. They don't know the game. They're not smart enough. You're saying that. That's what you're saying. They're not. He's not a good coach. They're not coached well. You know what I'm saying? You're buying into, or you're spouting racism. tropes. That's what you're doing.
Right.
So we should stop acting like this stuff is
Part of coach sports.
it's
Like,
just like you said, it's just coaching against another guy. You can coach against another guy and you can say some stuff, but you wouldn't say that. You're saying that because you are buying into, you are espousing some racial tropes, and that's not that's not good. That's foul. And the black coach last week did it.
and you know what? I looked at this man and I did some research on his resume and stuff like that. Played at Michigan, played at Michigan State. Kind of had this, like, you know, slow rise to success. So I'm looking at him and I'm like, this sounds like a little coaching envy.
That's
a little coaching envy, but you dressed it as you took your coaching envy, wrapped it up in him not being right enough or in the system enough, playing like, why do I have to take off my glasses to talk to another man? Now, I'm not talking about somebody like if I walk in if Granny House Bruce, I'm gonna take off my hat.
Yeah, but this ain't you ain't speaking to your elder.
You ain't my elder. You a man in my same peer group.
Yes.
I'm not taking off my glasses because I'm talking to you.
It's dumb. The whole thing is dumb.
And what do me like they talk about him wearing jogging pants on the sidelines? What is he supposed to wear? Like, this man he has a foot issue where he has to wear compression socks and gym shoes and all this kind of stuff.
You saw the sign up. The kids had the sign up. My coach has 10 toes. Y'all just crazy. You just, and that ain't funny, but that's not funny because this is you're just, what are you all talking about?
What is that? That's what I'm saying. It's dumb. It's really dumb stuff.
And black players, now the black players on Oregon team was throwing up the watch symbol.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Throwing it up, not knowing that, listen, dude, you don't have to play the game. You don't have to feed
What's with your audio is funky. What's going on there?
Right?
Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying, but just like last week when I said this last week when the Colorado State player scored his touchdown and he did the Deion Sanders. I didn't find anything offensive in that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would. In that if he was white, personally, I wouldn't have.
You giving me you paying a little homage to me doing that. Like, I mean, I do that after touchdowns or interceptions, whatever. So
it's not derogatory. Even them, the black players flashing their
watches or whatever.
I didn't. That's not nothing. When you start playing into racial tropes, that's different. That's derogatory.
The reason I said that was, can you get my audio better?
No.
I'm gonna come out. I'm gonna leave out and come back.
Yeah. So I didn't. I didn't find anything offensive in those things. That was all fine. That was in bounds to me. It was that other stuff that wasn't. Did you see how the Oregon coach at the end, he said, or at halftime, he said, I hope the people who were watching last week are watching this week. That to me tells me you want the clicks, you want the eyes, and you haven't been getting them just from being ranked number whatever they were, 9. You weren't getting them. And this is you want the eyes that Colorado was having. You want to have those. And then at the end of the game, he says, we played well, we played all right. We hope y'all come back.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, to me, his critique was it wasn't a righteous critique because he wants the same things and he hasn't been getting them. And he He can't do what Dion does to get the likes. He
That's
can't
right. That's right.
ride the coattails of the man who's getting them. And next week, ain't nobody gonna be watching the Oregon game. You know what they're gonna be watching?
The
USC.
USC game.
USC game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
That's it. And that's the part that as we as Black Americans with Dion,
Mm-hmm.
win or lose, we're riding with you, brother. We're with you. I mean, this if this is a 7-5 season and you get to a bowl game, we ride with you. Whatever happens here, this is a success story. Period.
I told my sons, the Colorado Buffaloes are the Georgetown Hoyas of the 80s.
No question about it. We riding.
That's just what it is. Everybody was a Georgetown fan. Everybody.
That's right. That's right.
So real quick, am I still bad?
No, you good now.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the reason I brought up the watch thing is because these young men don't understand that Shador got a NIL deal for the watch.
Yeah.
So he's not doing it to be disrespectful. This is a part of his money. He's not number 2 in NIL for nothing. He is LeBron James' son, and then him with the most NIL money. So when he puts on a watch after the game and shows them the camera, that's him doing his advertising part and supporting his dad because prime time.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So which means he's basically like the advertisers have said, just flash it. I mean, we're paying you, so flash it. We don't need you just be having it on. Don't put it up.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. We're good. That's it.
But now here's the thing. When these other guys are doing it, they're making money for Shador because everybody is Googling Shador's watches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So you're thinking you're making fun and you're making them money.
That's fine. That's what I'm saying. That's why to me it was all in bounds. That was in bounds to me. I didn't have a problem.
If you smart, you don't feed the pockets of the man, but they're feeding it. Like
they don't know no better. That's fine.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so fellas,
I think so because my mind goes off at 5:30 without fail, Monday through Friday.
All right, so then maybe you should go first with your. I'm just saying. Or me.
There you go.
So yeah, I think I'll be quick. I think it's important we talked about this a little bit earlier with the Kirk Franklin thing. I think it's important. I talked about this with my wife actually during our anniversary. Black men need grace. And because like we know all the statistics, and I read some of them down to her. I'll let them go here. Black men with college degrees on average make less than white men with no high school degrees. If you know that, then you should not fall into this notion that Black men have to support you wholly by themselves. That's just not the situation that most Black men are in. The Kevin Samuels guy, he made a statement I thought was crazy. He said, Black men on average, the average Black man makes $42,000 a year. If you know that, that should change some of your preconceived notions about what your marriage is going to be to a Black man, what the finances are going to look like for a black man. And you've got to make some decisions beyond finances when you're dealing with black men, because the system is set up with these kind of statistics. Those have to be taken into account. Like I said, and we'll talk about this some more when we get into some other videos, hopefully next week. Black men need grace. Give them some. I'm just saying.
Had a conversation with a friend of mine from Mobile, Alabama today by way of California. And we hadn't talked in a while, and she began just talking about her marriage and her new marriage. And she spoke about her three children, and that one of her sons was having some identity issues. Young adult, but she began mentioning that he is this way because of the relationship or the lack of relationship that he had with his father. It's imperative, and I would posit to you all that situations that are happening with our young men, our young black men, in their identity and what they are choosing to be identified as, I think is a strong percentage of the relationship that they had or didn't have with their father. We're in crises, ladies and gentlemen. Our black men are in crises. Our young black men are in crises. And as Bruce just said, it's got to be some grace, because we've got to get to identity. We're still, even years later from the 16-9 boat coming here, we're still having an identity crisis. And what the system is doing is recognizing this, the fact that you have an identity crisis. We're going to continue to put things so that you can further your lack of knowing who you are, and the self-hate just continues to perpetuate. It just continues. So surely have better relationships, get back to who dad is, who dad was, reconcile. I'm just saying.
So there's a story in the Bible about a man named Job. And I've been really looking deep into this story. And I realized that Job was favored by God, but favor didn't feel favorable. God spoke on Job's behalf when Satan came to see who he could tempt. Now, I thought it was amazing that when God said, "Have you considered my servant Job?" that Satan's rebuttal was, I would, but you protect him. That means that Satan knew who Job was before God spoke on him. Then all hell broke loose in Job's life. The reason I'm bringing this up, because right now, hell is breaking loose in somebody's house right now. And I want you to consider this, that the reason that hell may be breaking loose in your life right now is because God has spoken on you to the enemy. And the enemy knows who you are. Don't look at every storm as a bad thing, but look at the storm as an opportunity for you to give God greater glory and walk into a deeper path of faith, so that when you come out of the storm, that the Lord can replenish what the storm took away from you. I'm just saying.